4:45, and guess what? We did it! All this talk of hitting 60 degrees. I had 58 today, and the thinking was, well, we had a little bit of a cool east wind coming through the gorge. We were going to be around freezing with a frosty start. Could we warm up from right around freezing to 60? This was the first day the air mass had a chance to start warming. Sometimes it takes that second day, but we did it. The air mass went 31 degrees and warming in Portland today. That was with not a strong east wind, but east winds out of the gorge that were generally 15, 20 miles per hour this afternoon. So that's obviously the big story, right? First 60-degree day of, I know spring on the solar calendar starts on Monday, but meteorological spring started back on March. So let's say first 60-degree day of the spring season. It looks like it's going to be 61 in the record book. The final report hasn't come out yet, but it looks like it's going to be 61 out of PDX, 60 in Salem, 61 Kelso, 61 Hillsborough. And I know up in Southwest Washington, Cowlitz County, the airport in Kelso at least made it to 62. I haven't seen if the final report's going to be a little bit higher or not. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the sunshine. Now, this may surprise you. Guess what we also did today? We averaged below normal, so we keep our streak alive, today becoming the 24th consecutive day out at the airport in Portland, that when you average the high and the low together, you come out below normal. Now, remember, this morning's low was 30. That was 10 degrees colder than what is now the normal low of 40. And even though we made it to 61, that was only 4 degrees above the normal of 57, so the average came in at 2 degrees colder than normal. I think today is likely the final day. I don't expect us to be below normal tomorrow. I think tomorrow's temperatures will either average normal or maybe a degree or two above. But so if I'm right, what had been an impressive stretch of cooler than normal temperatures consecutively is going to end at 24. That is an impressive streak. Okay, let's do some almanac stuff. Here was the Portland Spirit camera in downtown Portland. This was midday looking at the Tillicum Crossing. The Willamette looking a little muddy by this camera view, but it was pretty quiet in the water, pretty flat. Remember, we had all that rain on Monday. The big pipe project got full, and they had to shut the river down for, stuff flowing into the river. It doesn't look like it's totally washed out yet. Anyway, back to the day at hand, the 60-degree celebration. So the last day prior to the day that Portland had hit 60 was November 4th. Now, a very respected colleague of mine, Mark Nelson, you may know Mark, he works over Channel 12 here in town. He did the research on this, and Mark says, and I trust him, that if you go back to when the records of PDX began, back to 1940, the stretch of November 4th through yesterday, which was the 15th, 131 days. That is the longest stretch of no 60-degree weather since they started keeping records of PDX back around 1940. So that's impressive. 131 days. Apparently that's the longest stretch with no 60. The record today, by the way, if you're wondering, not only 80 degrees, but today in the record book is the earliest in the season that you will find an 80-degree record. Most of the records are still in the 70s. Normal high, I mentioned 57. The normal low is actually 40 degrees. So we get up in the 60s tomorrow. We won't be as cold, I don't believe, and we have a good chance of averaging normal to above tomorrow. Anyway, so a friend of mine texted me and they said, is winter over? Okay, hold on. There's a lot of mounting evidence on the charts that in terms of being as cold below normal as these days of 10 degrees averaging below normal, maybe we're done with that. Certainly as the climate averages get warmer, even a 10-degree below normal temperature next week would not be as cold as a 10-degree below normal temperature was a week or two ago, if that makes sense, right? Because we're going to be getting into the back half of March. Temperatures are going to be wanting to go up. So I think in terms of how cold it was, yeah, we're probably done with that. But there are still a number of days coming up through mid-April that show well below normal temperatures. Now, the first chance of rain returning is Sunday. So tomorrow we're going to be mostly sunny to maybe partly cloudy. We'll get up to about 62 tomorrow, I think. Saturday, another dry day, partly cloudy. You have us at 63. So we could do 60 plus 3 days in a row. Sunday's our next rain chance. Showers developing. Snow level 4,000 feet. And then some rain on the first day of spring, which is Monday. Snow level 3,000 feet. Tuesday may or may not see some showers. Snow level 3,000 feet. Wednesday, shower chance looks to be a good bet, 3,000 feet. Thursday, the same thing, 3,000 feet. So these, again, are snow levels holding in the Cascades. They're not what I would call high snow levels. They're not low. 3,000 to 4,000 foot snow level this time of the year is probably pretty typical. So we'll call that normal. And that goes with what was a big deal, I think, just last week. The fact that snow levels were finally going to get up into the Cascades and stay there and leave the coast range behind. Now, there are a couple of mornings next week coming up where the snow level could at least have some sticking snow of light snow shower activity down closer to 2,000 feet. But that's the latest on that. Okay, what about rain? Well, first chance of rain is Sunday, developing showers, 0.2 of an inch at most, I think on average up and down the I-5 corridor. Monday, the first day of spring, the same, 0.2 of an inch at most. So these are decent shower days, not big soakers, not periods of steady rain. Tuesday's kind of starting to go back and forth. Could it be a dry, partly sunny day, or would it be a shower or two? And then rain showers pick up on Wednesday. But again, on Wednesday, only 0.2 of an inch of rain. So we'll call all of these systems kind of weak. Nothing overly organized. Some decent showers passing at times. But, nothing that's going to overly soak us. And then a system that was showing up on Wednesday was then showing up early Thursday morning. Now that same system is not showing up until maybe the PM hours on Thursday and a Friday. And it looks like it could give us about 45/100ths of an inch. But my point on this system that's now been backed into Thursday, Friday is it keeps getting delayed, which makes you think it's probably not going to end up being as strong as it one time looked like. So if that's the case, none of these systems next week look to be overly powerful, I guess is my message there. Okay, hey, this just came out today on the 16th day of the month of March. National Weather Service updating their April outlook. Remember, I've been telling you that my personal outlook work has been pretty consistent in that, we're going to have some warm days. We just had one, right? We're going to have another one tomorrow. But overall, when you average the days, I still like our forecast of it being below normal temperature-wise for the month of April through the first 2 weeks of April. And then some moderation after that. And then maybe we go into what would be a fairly warm May, okay? None of that's changed. The Weather Service outlook for the 30-day period of the month of April has us below normal in the blue colors, all of Oregon, Washington, down into parts of Nevada and over to Idaho. Meanwhile, the southern and much of the eastern U.S. expected to warm up. And often you see this, kind of a teeter-totter. Because, if we have a cold pool of air, then you can get maybe ridging with the jet stream flow over the eastern U.S., and they can be kind of opposite. So anyway, that seems to be a fairly high confidence forecast of probably taken as a whole the entire month of April, averages below normal. Certainly, I think the first 2 weeks will. What about rain? Well, see, with below normal in California. Hey, California, I'm sure they're celebrating this, right? A below normal precipitation forecast for them. I'm sure they're ready for a break. Notice we don't have any colors going on in Oregon and Washington. This puts us in the equal chance category. The Weather Service would tell you that they just don't have confidence to project normal, to project above normal, or below normal. There just are no strong signals to project the precipitation. I will tell you, and I've mentioned this several times, we've had a fair number of days of measurable rainfall. What we have been lacking are the numbers of days with a good soak. And remember what I just told you about next week. That pattern continues. Most days, 2/10 of an inch of rain, some rain, but not a good soak. So if that's the case, it would be tough for April to get up to normal. Right now, for the month of March, thanks to that record rain we had on Monday with over an inch, we're hanging in a little bit above normal, but we could still lose that surplus. Okay, forecast information time, dry Friday. This is the Mount Hood forecast. You can always find this on my weather site, portlandweather.com, my Mount Hood ski forecast page. Snow levels 4,500 tomorrow. 40s up at pass level. That tells you that the passers are going to be in great shape. Dry, clean pavement, easy travel. Same thing on Saturday. Snow picks up during the day on Sunday, at least a couple inches, maybe as much as 5 through the night. Monday, at least 2, maybe as much as 3 or 4. We talked about the snow level 3,000 feet. And there's Tuesday that may or may not produce 1 to 3 inches. So no big storms there. Here's Portland's 7-day. The latest update, going 62 tomorrow, going 63 on Saturday. And then showers develop on Sunday with clouds. That would hold us down to the 50s. And then it's kind of lows, upper 30s to around 40, 42. Daytime highs, 53, 54, maybe 55, much of next week. So these numbers are cooler than normal, but not the cold stuff that we've had, right? And as we get going later and later into the month of March, the atmosphere just wants to at least be in the 50s, just wants to be. So you really have to have a cold weather system advecting big time cold air to keep you out of the 50s. And I don't see that happening next week. I think we'll at least be in the 50s. Okay. Thanks for using my site. Thanks for trusting my forecast. Tell your friends about it. Hit subscribe if you haven't to my YouTube channel here. I'll talk to you soon.